this is how I make dolls. I start with a magic circle, and I usually, for the arms and legs, no matter what size needle, this happens to be an H, but I've done it with an I, I've done it with a G before, but no matter what size needle, I usually do 8 single crochets in the magic circle, or I'll do the 3 stitches and then you go back into the first stitch. But I do that, 8 single crochets, then the next row I do 2 in each single, and then after that I just do the continuous rounds for as many rounds as for as long as I want the arms and the legs to be. I usually make the legs just a little bit longer than the arms, which these arms I have to make just a little bit shorter. I kind of went a little too far. And then what I do is I begin to join them. So, trying to get my work out of the way. I I'll show you how I join with these 2 legs, and then I'll show you where I'm at. So this one I've already tied off. This one's got a little yarn left on, but I'll either tie it off or tuck it in. And I've already stuffed them because I know I'm about to join it. So I stuff my legs and I stuff the arms just before I join them. And then I join them by just making my regular knot. And after I make the knot, I'll just start off somewhere along where I've joined it at. Sometimes I try to get it right at that joint, but it doesn't matter. But I'll make a knot, pass it through, and all this will go inside the leg as much as possible. And there should be, because I did 8, there should be 16 stitches, and I'm going to go through 2 layers. So I go through here, and I'd say these legs are about 6 inches long. So I go through and try to pick that up. Usually when I cut off, I leave more yarn than that too, so that it's easier to tuck down inside, but that kind of got real short for me. But I just make a single crochet. Remember, I'm joining, so I'm going to make it where the doll can sit, so that's why I'm going through both layers. You can also just go through 1 layer, and when I get halfway across, I would join the other leg to it, which as soon as I get across, you'll see what I'm doing. But I'm doing single crochet, trying to show you my stitching, but I do singles all the way across, until I get over to where I'm going to attach the other leg, if it will cooperate with me. Doesn't want to, but I almost there. A couple more stitches. It's just an awkward angle, I guess. And then now I either will make 2 more stitches in between here, or I just join. And this, like I say, this piece needs cut off, but I didn't cut it, so I'll just attach it in. But I attach the same way I started off the other one, excuse me, where I'm going through the 2 layers, and I've got my other one here. So now I go through those 2 layers, I yarn over and pull it through. Got too much. And I just single crochet it again. And now just that quick they're joined, and I'm yarning over and single crocheting this, and I'll snip off that extra piece in a minute when I get a chance. But this is all I do. I yarn over and pull through. But I'm going to go on down this line and show you what else I do. I'll let that fall behind. Just to show you, there's 2 ways also, once they're joined up, to proceed to make the body. Sorry. And gotta pull more yarn. And this, I'm going to, sometimes that last little stitch, I go ahead and take an extra right at the edge, just so the body kind of proceeds out beyond the legs. And there, that's the joined up legs, kind of crooked. Got to squeeze it up and make sure that it's all one. But then as I turn it over to the other side, this piece will be gone. I'm going to cut it. I only go through, let's see, and I don't do a single to go up or anything. So the first stitch is kind of hard to get to, but I only go through the one side that's facing me of the stitch, because as I go around, I'll do that on this side, excuse me, and then on the other side, I'll take it through that stitch, and it creates this opening. So this is a few rows up after I've gone all the way around and then come up and created the opening. And the same thing holds true. And I just keep climbing as I go, and this will create the body. And I'm just single crocheting. This whole doll is done single crochet. And then as I do the head, as I get up to the neck, and then as I go to do the head, I do some decreasing toward the neck to make the body. What did I do? Oh, no wonder. Single. But as I'm doing the body, I decrease toward the neck, and I usually end up with the neck around the same width as this, so that's 16 stitches around. It can be a little more though, and I just kind of judge it, like roughly the body might be almost as long as the legs. I just kind of roughly estimate, but I decrease toward the neck, and then I increase for the what we I guess would call the chin toward the bottom. I decrease toward the neck, then I begin to increase to make the bottom of the head, and after about 3 or 4 rows, I don't increase or decrease. I just do several rows, and it just depends on the size of the doll. But usually, I don't know. I'll look at the other one and tell you how many rows it took for her. So I'm going to put this down because you see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to keep going until it's roughly, I'd say, the legs are about 6 inches. So roughly, I'd go up to about 4 inches, and then I'd start the decrease toward the neck. And then when I do the neck and come back with the head, this is a doll I've been working on today. So with her, I decreased, and then I did about 3 or 4 rows for her neck. That way it doesn't flop, because I don't have anything stiff to put in for the neck. And then I just increased for about 3 rows. Then I went up however many rows. I didn't really count. But I started decreasing along about where the eyes would go, maybe. So along about here, when I got to right about here, I started decreasing for the rest of the head. And now I'm trying to shape for the eyes and nose, but you don't have to do that. And then I'll put 2 little eyes, and I did the arms, so I did sew that on. And that just fell. I just sit her up and I look and try to evenly go across and make sure that they're going to be even, and then I just stitch it on. You could do a single to stitch it on, it wouldn't matter. That's my basic doll that I do, and I'm still working on her. She's a work in progress. I have a little one that I did, and I was practicing with her, so she's cute. But I'm only showing you her to show you number one, I'm still working on her face. I put these eyes on, I don't like them, so I'll be taking them off. But I made her what I call a wig cap, and it's just basically started in the center and then did the progressive singles, and I only stitched in the back loop so that the stitches would be present in the front, and that'll be how I crochet her hair locks on. So I haven't gotten to the hair yet. So you don't get to see a picture of that, but I did try to show you the basics of how I make my dolls, because whenever I go online, I never see how to make the dolls. I go on Pinterest, I go on YouTube, and I see a lot of the dolls, and some of them are very interesting, but they don't always give me the detail I'm looking for. Now she was a practice. Now her arm will go all the way around because I did one stitch all the way across the body and then one stitch back through the same way so that her arms and legs will move. But that's because she's going to be sort of like a teenager. I've still got to trim and do all that. But her legs move and sit. And I didn't stuff her legs because she was so skinny. It's a different kind of doll. More like an Elf on the Shelf type of doll, only not. And I don't care what color yarn I use. I like to be creative. So I use, this is pink. I've got the sea green and burgundy. And then I give them names. So they're my little dolls in my collection. But I did want to share how I do the body. And this one, I didn't do the body in proportion to the legs and arms. I wanted the legs and arms to be kind of like super long. And then her body just be a little short piece. And so that's very, very short. I was making her a shirt and trying it on to see if I like it, which I don't. So I'm going to make her probably a red dress, I think, maybe. But that'll be for later on. But she's the closest to done that I have a doll. And I got her wig cap on, and then I've got her arms and legs attached. Still got to fix that. And like I say, her body's way shorter. If I normally would have been trying to make her proportionate, I would have made her body way longer so that it would fit the legs. But this is just to give you something other than just a view of my dolls that I make. It gives you kind of a little handy kind of idea of how to proportion your dolls. These ones are better proportioned, like I say, than the little skinny girl. But hopefully this helps answer a couple questions, because I know I usually have questions. But hopefully this will help. Hopefully it'll get you going and maybe make you want to make a doll or two. And I will see you again in Yarnia.